Hi, this is Paul Bondi with Home Solutions Realty Group and the sellersaves.com realty platform. I want to discuss with you on this video and share what I'm seeing already as a direct result of the Burnett Sitzer lawsuit that has changed the landscape of the real estate world effective August 17th. We are now post August 17th. What is the new impact? What does it mean? What's it look like? Well, first is it was a decoupling of the relationships of commissions between listing agents and buyer's agents. Traditional old real estate was listing agent comes out, we list a home, we've negotiated a 5, 6, 7% commission. And as a direct result of that, typically the listing agent would agree to pay 50% of what they've collected from the seller to cooperate with an outside agency or even an agent within their own firm. That is no longer the case. What I love about that is this decoupling, that's the term that's been used, this decoupling of this relationship is that why would a seller ever pay a predetermined amount to somebody they've never met, nor they've never had the opportunity to negotiate that with? Well, the old school thinking of this was that if they didn't do that, no one would ever show their property. If we didn't disclose that we were going to pay 2.5% or 3% to the buyer agent fee, then no agents would ever come and show your house. Because what we used to get taught is that even though commissions historically have always been 100% negotiable, when a seller would say, Paul, I really would only rather list my house for 3%. The response that we were taught, and was the actual training that we were taught that was used in this lawsuit to show collusion and antitrust based on the fact that it was kind of a priced fixed commission. Because we were taught to say, well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we could do it for 3%, but here's my concern. If we do it this way, and agents are looking at how much the compensation is going to be, and everybody else is paying 2.5% and 3% to the buyer's agent, and we're only paying 1 or 1.5%, there's a strong likelihood that your home is never going to get sold. So there was a presentation of fear that made you commit to the 5, 6, or 7% commission. Well, now that this has been debunked, if you will, and now as a direct result, post August 17th from this lawsuit, the negotiation now is only between me, the listing agent, and you, the seller. And under the Home Solutions Seller Saves program, the most you would ever pay on the listing side of it is 2%, and more than likely, actually quite less than that. So the other thing that changed is that no buyer is allowed to preview a home if they're not under a buyer employment contract. Now there's two different documents that agents can enter into with and there's an exclusive and non-exclusive buyer agent agreement. But under that agreement are terms, and those terms set forth what that buyer is willing to pay that agent for services rendered. And let me also say that fee is negotiable. That agent might between the buyer and the agent, they might work out a flat fee. They might work out a 1%. They might still try to put 3% in there. And that buyer's agent more than likely is going to hope that 3% is still going to come on the seller side. But there's no guarantee that it's going to work that way anymore. What I like about what this lawsuit did is it opened up more of a free market of negotiations. Any seller today if you're choosing to go out and list your home and you're being told if you don't list your home for the traditional fee of 5% that you're not going to get your home sold, I challenge that. I believe based on today's market and the climate we live in And the fact that the minute I put your home into the MLS and it's immediately syndicated, the world knows about that property. I will even bet you that the buyers out there will know about your property going up for sale before the agent that they're supposedly working with. And that's only not any fault to that agent, it's just technology. Technology in the real estate industry has made it tremendously easier, which is also part of my argument in this. I don't understand why agents are so up in arms with the fact that what's going on here today. My personal opinion, and this is my personal opinion, is that many agents suffer from a syndrome that a friend of mine has labeled. It's called CES, Commission Entitlement Syndrome. They feel, and I've been a veteran in this business since 1989, and I'll tell you, when I sold a house at $100,000 on a listing side and I made 3% or $3,000, I earned every penny of that, because back then I had to list the property. I had to physically go to the property. I was taking the pictures with a camera that had this thing called film inside of it. And then I had to take it to a local Kodak store or a CVS to get it developed. Then I had to meet with a person from the magazine or newspapers, and we had to design it all, lay it all out. All of that for a house that didn't sell for 60, 90, or 120 days back then. Now today, fast forward 25, 30 years later, that same $100,000 house is worth $400,000. I don't need to come to the house. Chances are I'm going to put it under contract on a Friday on the listing. I may not even get the pictures done in time, because by Sunday there's 3 or 4 offers on it. And that $400,000 at 3% is $12,000. I've sold it in a matter of 3 or 4 hours, and you're paying 4x money. That's great for an agent. And that's why agents are so upset today, because they love the fact of how easily that money comes. Now, I'm not saying that the real estate industry is easy. I've done this for a very long time. There's been plenty of months where things weren't great. So I'm not trying to sugarcoat. I'm not trying to embellish. I'm not trying to say that agents don't deserve to get compensated. What I'm saying today is that 1%, 1.5% is a fair and reasonable price to sell your home. And that's why when I list your home, the most you're ever going to pay me is 1.5%. And again, depending on certain conditions and parameters regarding that house, it might even be less than that. And instead of us predetermining what we're going to pay the other side, we're going to let those agents come through the property with their buyers. We're going to let them see if the buyers want it. Because at the end of the day, let's remember something, folks out there. We're working for you. Everything that's being spoke of, everything that's being argued, any argument that's out there by agents is all about them themselves and their personal compensation, not the services rendered. Excuse me. This new way of real estate has opened up the gateway of opportunity. There's many agents on this side over here complaining and crying and saying they don't like the fact they're not going to get the compensation. We want it to be business as usual. Myself, my business partner, Linda Finnis, and I say, wrong. This is an unbelievable opportunity where we could go out and get compensated still very, very fairly and reasonably for our time and service, while at the same time bringing benefit and service to both the buyers and the sellers alike. We're going to continue with these videos. I got some really cool ideas and neat ideas on how to save buyers money in terms of negotiating their contract up front, why it's beneficial on that side, and also on the seller side. Why? Because at the end of the day, if us as agents don't start waking up and paying attention, there's other platforms, other ideas out there that are going to become and make us obsolete in the transaction if we're not careful. So this website was designed to be informative, to be transparent, and to bring realism to what's going on in the industry today, and to try to get through the confusion that's out there. Because at the end of the day, there shouldn't be any confusion with any of this. Thank you very much for continuing to explore the sellersaves.com platform and continue to work through the sites above, the tabs above. Thanks a lot.